Do you think like jumping up in stakes kind of like masked or like band-aided some of that stuff?
Yeah, it's funny because they say the joke is like, move up to where they'll respect your raises.
He says that all the time.
About to say it just now.
Me and my buddy, we making all of this money. Yeah, I know it's rude to be bragging. They never catching us slacking. Me and my
All right, guys, welcome back. Table One Podcast. Co-host Justin Young, other co-host Art Parman, not drinking a beer. I want everyone to notice that. He's going to claim it's a mixed drink, but it's not. So shame. And very special guest Brock Wilson is with us today. Thank you, Brock.
He's not drinking either.
Well, I know, but I didn't expect him to.
No.
Like he has 2 doctor's appointments he's about to go to.
I asked my friends beforehand if they drank. Like you had Steven Sung and Adam Hendricks, and one said I drank and the other said I didn't. So I was like, wonder which one I'll go with. But it's a little early, so I'll go with the non.
Yeah, especially with the doctor's appointments right afterwards. You don't want to come like stumbling in there like, no, seriously, doc. It's like 1 or 2 drinks a week. That's it. Right. I promise. It's noon on a Wednesday, man.
Yeah.
But no, I think Adam Hendricks, when we did his was a little bit later in the afternoon.
Makes more sense.
Plus, he's from Alaska. I feel like anyone from Alaska has to drink. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean they have to go like a month with
100% dark.
Yeah, that's
no
true.
Dark, and then with 100% dark. So they had to drink just to normalize the fucked up place they live. All right. Anyways,
that's our big part of our viewer base, man. You can't.
Oh, sorry.
You've alienated all 4 of them. Okay. All right. I'm sure you've seen all of our episodes. I know you have actually watched some. We normally
I've seen a lot of them, and you say that every single time.
We really do. That's why I kind of caught myself there. It's like I actually know because like every time I've talked to you like at the table, like you bring up one of the pods we've recently done, which is really nice of you. Tell all your friends.
Yes.
But we take you back to when you were a little Brock, and kind of like how you got in this stupid crazy game that is poker. So first things first, how old are you right now?
I'm 31.
31. Okay. So I saw on your card player, and I don't know if it was on your Hidden Mob, that you had a cash in 2010, and like I was like,
it's not me.
I don't think that's him.
Yeah, no, it wasn't me.
I mean, Brock Wilson, not the most uncommon name, but still. All right, just want to get that out of the way first. Right. So did you grow up playing games with the family or anything?
I didn't grow up playing that many games. I grew up playing a lot of sports, and nobody in my family really played poker. It was just one time, me and my friends who we played a bunch of sports together. We would usually and have sleepovers. And then one time, one kid was like, "Hey, like I got this other game. Like, do you want to play?" And it was poker. And we were having a sleepover. I think we played like another game first, like Monopoly or something. And then obviously like poker is a little bit more interesting because you can actually bet on it. Like we bet a little bit on Monopoly, but poker's obviously a better game to bet on. So
did you actually finish the Monopoly games? How long were these sleepovers or weekends?
I mean, when you're a young kid, when your parents go to sleep and you have a sleepover, you're allowed to stay up till whenever you want. Yeah. You're like, all right, let's just keep staying up. Let's see how late we can go before we pass out. But yeah, we played till late, and the kid was like really into it, and he was actually like, I'm pretty sure he was cheating because he would beat us every single time, and I was like, why is this kid beating us? And you do stuff where like I would notice he would like do things like look at the bottom of the deck a little bit. And I'd always be like, as I got more familiar with poker, I was like, I wonder what this kid's up to. But I still, sometimes he wasn't there. And when he wasn't there, I would win a lot. And I was like, but when he's there, I can't win. I wonder why.
Let's call him out. Like, where does he live and what's his name? What was his job? Any wife, kids? Any of that
I haven't talked to him in a while, but I hope he's doing great in life. But he was a nice kid other than that. But yeah, so it was, we would play, and then I just immediately like fell in love with it. Like it would start to be a thing where as soon as I would play, I would just not be able to sleep. Like I would literally, like when I would close my eyes, I would just be still playing, and I just could not sleep. Like it was actually an issue. I actually talked to I had a family psychologist, and I actually talked to him about it. I was like, I just can't sleep. Like I'm like so like enthralled with the game, and kind of ever since. I mean, I was 13. And ever since there, almost every day, I haven't gone a day without thinking about poker. I just have been obsessed with it ever since, and it really hasn't waned at all.
Was the TV coverage back in 2007-ish then pretty strong? I mean, did you watch like a lot of the stuff?
Yeah, that actually brings me to another moment where I was coming back from skateboard camp, which was something I was really interested in.
Let's one quick second. Let's talk about skateboard camp, please.
Yeah, I went to Woodward, which is a huge skateboard camp in Pennsylvania, like massive. And my friends and I just loved it. It was like my obsession right before poker. I had a few obsessions, but right before poker, which was guitar, then skateboarding. But like on the way back from skateboarding camp, I saw on the TV at the bar poker, and I was like, that's interesting. Like it was 2007, so I imagine it was like the Jerry Yang year, and I don't remember exactly what was going on, but it was something that really caught my attention. And I remember the moment, which is, I don't remember too much from when I was like 13. This was around the same time I was 2007, 13. So yeah, skateboard camp was great, but ultimately, poker kind of brought together some competitive nature I had, because me and my friends were always competing, whether it was sports, whether it was skateboarding. I was in a band, and I was always like, if there's a rival band, I always wanted to be better than them, and people like me more than them, like our band more than them. And yeah, so I saw it on TV, and I was like, yes, this is a great game for me. And
cool.
Yeah.
So can you do a kickflip?
I still can, actually. That is one thing I can still do. But honestly, I didn't used to wear a helmet, and now I'm like, how did I not wear a helmet? It's so easy to go down hard.
Got precious cargo up here.
Yeah, I mean, poker's the sort of thing where it's like, you don't get a pension or anything if it goes bad. If it goes bad, you're just like, well, I guess I just
worst case, you can start your own podcast. I mean,
yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. 8-year plus resume gap isn't opening any doors. So
yeah, no, I've heard. So you mentioned some of your other passions. Were there hopes or dreams of turning that into a career? Like skateboarding, maybe not, but like being in a band, like certainly at 13 seems like a realistic thing.
I always wanted to be the top of whatever I did. I wanted to be a rock star. When I was a skateboarder, I realistically knew I wasn't good enough to be a pro skateboarder, but I was very into basketball when I was young, and then I kind of didn't bulk up enough, and that kind of fell down. But I wanted to be a pro basketball player. Like, I really thought that at minimum I'll play in college, and no, I didn't even make it to like varsity, really. Like, I got on the team, but I didn't really play. So I was like, yeah, it was, I always really wanted to like outcompete and just do the best I could and put my everything into what I was doing, because it's just kind of the way I am. I get kind of obsessive, and yeah, but those things didn't work out. Fortunately, like, poker is the sort of thing where you're a pro if you say you're a pro. So here we are.
So speaking of that, like, how did your parents take all these, I wouldn't call them take all your obsessions or whatever, because like I know they're way more serious when you're of that age, but like were they supportive for skateboarding and like music and then on to poker?
Oh yeah, my parents were great. My parents really, like, whenever skateboarding, they would buy me all these ramps, even though my mom was very scared of me getting hurt. Basketball, I was in every basketball camp, and I would get basketball sort of like, not private tutors, but like I was sent to like intense coaching. Yep. So they really supported me through all the obsessions. Guitar, my parents were very close to putting a stage in my basement. Wow. Now, they kind of knew that like I was slowly waning out of that part of my obsession. They were like, let's give it a year, see if you still like it as much, because it was like a 2-3 year obsession. They were smart to wait, because that stage would have been untouched for a long time.
Would have been a stage for a poker table.
Right? Yeah. It actually turned into, in that area, we just put a poker table, and I'd have games in my basement. But yeah, they were really, poker, I mean, they always said, oh, you love this, you love poker. Like, why don't you go into finance? Why don't you apply it to stock trading? And I actually ended up majoring in finance and working in finance. So I did take that under advisement. But yeah, my parents really support. They paid, like, I went to Fordham University in
FU. Sorry.
Yeah, that is it.
Oh, I know. I've seen all the hats.
Yeah, right in New York, which I'm from New York, so it was like right nearby. And I stayed on campus, and my parents paid for college, which was huge for me, because in terms of playing poker on the side, if I had to pay down $200 to $250K in student debt, I just would have had no money to play. And if you have no money to play, like, you can't you can't slowly move up, test yourself, play our stakes. All the money would be going out, and I really don't know if things would have materialized the way they did if my parents did not pay for college. Because I had a friend, my roommate had to pay down all his college debt. He only recently paid it off, and he's had a pretty good job for 10 years. So yeah, definitely very thankful for that.
So were you just playing online during college then?
Yeah, so I played a lot in high school. Played with a lot of my high school friends. It would be a thing where I would just like almost like never lose, which it was just unfair, really, because I would read Super System. I would read like poker books that were around, and I would watch poker all the time. And all these kids, they would just show up with their 10, 20 bucks looking for us to have some fun. Like it was a little bit, I was not like super into drinking in high school, which some other kids were, but there were some other kids who didn't love drinking that much. This is what they kind of like to do on Friday and Saturday nights. And it was just the sort of thing where they would bring 10, 20 bucks. And I knew that they didn't want to lose more than 10 or $20. They brought it for the night. And I knew they had to make it last for the night. Mm-hmm. Very easy to like, put someone all in a bunch on hand 1, hand 2, hand 3. And I know they're not going to call. And if they did have a hand that wanted to call, they would have shoved an earlier street. So they just keep calling me. I'm like, either they have the mega nuts or they're just holding on, praying I give up. So it would just be the sort of thing where it was just really easy for me to win a lot. And obviously, if you always win at something, you're going to love it. It's so much fun. And that doesn't happen anymore. I mean, but that was great. And yeah, so I saved up, I think through those $10 and $20 games, I kept records. I made like $10,000, which was a lot. It was all in 20s and 10s. And
you're a drug dealer money. You got a little big bands of 20.
Yeah. And I ultimately started playing a little bit I graduated high school in 2012 and I played a little bit on Full Tilt and it all shut down. I only played like $2 and $4 tournaments. I think I put like $50 on. And when I say me, I mean, my mom was playing, really avid.
What was her screen name?
It was Ivy and Durr, which is very in the, with the times with high stakes poker and whatnot. But, it would be the sort of thing where for some reason, this woman who worked from 9 to 5, she'd only play when school got out at 3 and it would stop when she got home at 5. But yeah, she was a great player.
So she played at work. So what'd she do what did she do for a living?
Paralegal, but
all right.
Yeah.
So they let her slack off the last couple hours.
Yeah. But she actually noticed I was playing because I would usually, like if I was still in a tournament when she was getting home, well, I'm not going to give up the tournament. So she knew I was playing and she didn't like that I was playing during the week. She thought it was distracting me from school. So I stopped a little bit, but I obviously still found my way to play a bit. But it was the sort of thing where I played like $4 tournaments, and I tried to move up to $11 tournaments. I got crushed, and then Black Friday happened, so I had like $1,000 on there. I actually never got that $1,000, but yeah.
I want to talk about how you fleeced all your good friends for $10,000, $10 at a time. That is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Like, at what point, like, so you're saying your buddies would just bring $10 or $20 for the night.
Yeah.
What did you bring with you? And like, how did you pull out of your pocket if you happen to go bust? Like, did you just have a wad of like $10 bills? You're like, I'll rebuy this time, but just have a thick stack like right behind it.
So I would usually host the games. So it would be in my basement. So like, I would usually just take the money and I would pay it out at the end. So I didn't even have to add the money. I would just grab more chips out of the thing. And they started to start a rule that they said, you're not allowed to rebuy. Because I would be kind of the only one who would rebuy.
Right.
And they started to realize that it was that was unfair. And they would say, you only get one rebuy. So then it changed the game a little bit for me. Because I was like, I'm not going to sit here and watch you guys play for 3 hours where I'm out of rebuys. So that was smart of them. But yeah, it's a rotating group of like 10 or 15 kids. A couple of them gave me a little bit of trouble just because like, if you're just a little bit aggressive, it just makes it a lot harder. If you're going to race me sometimes with nothing, like, then I'm like, well, I sometimes have to call you. And like, that makes it a lot harder. So, but some of them started to realize that if they just start randomly raising me, I would fold a lot. And then that would be, one, because, I'm winning all these hands. I'm not going to like fight back too hard on some of these spots where they usually have it. And then 2, like I just didn't have it a lot. So some of the kids started to give me a little bit of trouble, but ultimately it just, I was just obsessed and I wanted to just figure out any strategy that, was what kids were doing. It was just all I would think about. Like when the day was over, when I was watching TV later.
How to fuck Timmy out of $10. That was every dream.
Yeah.
Did you at least provide like chips and dip or something for these guys? I mean,
oh yeah,
at least $10,000 worth, maybe not, but something.
Yeah, we would always have little food stuff.
Good.
So, Mom, pizza.
All right, guys, quick break. We just want to be here to tell you guys about Phenom Poker. Very recently, they have added MTTs to the repertoire. Every day, there's a good 10 to 12 tournaments going on right now. And in addition, if you're a first-time depositor on Phenom Poker, you can get up to 200% on $2,000 for a bonus. All you have to do is use our link, which will be posted hopefully right there. Here. I don't know where it's going to be. But you get on there, put on some money, get in USDT, and then come gamble with us, and you can get some rake back.
That's right. And if you see me or Justin at the table, definitely say something, and we will probably punt it off to you. Extra rake back for the fans.
That's right. We like to keep it in the family.
All right, back to the show. All right, but then you did go to college, and you did get a big boy job at some point.
Yeah.
What was your big boy job?
So I worked at Bank of America in commercial real estate lending, which was lending money to real estate companies to buy apartments, hotels, sort of office complexes. And I did find it interesting. It's a little bit of risk reward deciding hey, do we want to lend this? Does the Bank of America want to lend this company, $10 million to build this office complex? How much are they going to bring in? What kind of tenants are they going to have? How will they fare in a market downturn? And it's an interesting kind of risk reward because the bank doesn't actually make anything on the upside. So if the office building crushes and starts to charge really high rents, the bank just gets their interest payments. We're just getting 7% plus this kind of fixed, this alternate rate. And that's no matter how well it does. So we're really concerned with just minimizing our downside, making sure that, there's protections in place. And I did find it interesting. I really liked who I worked with, but ultimately I love poker, but I'm definitely addicted to it too. It's a very fun and it's a great game, but there was just this part of me when I was 22, 23 that everyone who I was working with, they really wanted it. They wanted to move up. When the work got out, they wanted to research more and go network and try and find another. And I was just I looked at the people 15, 20 years above me and I was they seem happy, but that's just not me. It's just not and my friends were really competitive. They really wanted to move on to higher paying jobs and within finance. And I was just, it wasn't for me.
That's really smart, interesting. I had a friend that similar kind of thing. It was a little earlier in their career. They wanted to be a doctor. And so they were they really thought they wanted to. They were pre-med. And then one day he had to go shadow a doctor. And the doctor had been a doctor for 25 years or whatever. And he shadows him for the day and just follow him around. He's just man, I really don't want this life. This is the guy, this guy won. And this is what I would have if I won. And a lot of paperwork and stuff I don't want to do. So he just did something else, went in entrepreneurship or something. But I think that really sharp of you to look ahead and actually be I could get there, but do I want it?
Right. Yeah. It was eye-opening for sure. And it was the last sort of straw was that 2 years in, I saved up. You could buy vacation days. So you get 2 weeks vacation and then you could buy an extra week of vacation if you just say, hey, you don't have to pay me for this week. So I ahead of time said at the start of the year, I applied for that. They said, sure. I didn't use any vacation days through all of 2018. June comes around and I was all right, I would like to use my 3 weeks vacation for the World Series. The boss said no. It's what do you mean no? And ultimately that kind of, I was just well, I had met some poker friends over the weekend, playing at local Foxwoods and Borgata, and they were all playing and they were all super hyped. I was I need to go play. I'm ready. I've been looking forward to this all year. And ultimately, I just said, you know what? I'm going to keep contact with everyone at the bank and I'm just going to try this. And I kind of said when I first left, oh, I'm going to do this poker related business. I'm not going to be a pro poker player because I knew they'd respect entrepreneurship. So I actually told them that I created this idea that actually existed already. Mike McDonald's
Timex.
Timex is it was, I forgot what it was called. He
Bank
sold
of
it a
Timex?
few.
Or something else. Where he's selling players to themselves?
Yeah, it
market?
was
You can
kind of
cross book and
It was something he sold it a few years ago. It was something like that. He definitely did Bank of Timex and then started a business related to it, but something like that where I was you know what, I'm gonna help players players invest and this and that. And that sounds very good to people in finance. And I ultimately said, and I'll play some poker on the side too, just because I have the time. And yeah,
on the side, I mean, all day, every day.
Right.
Before you finish that story, I heard a story, or I read a story when I was researching this, that 2 years earlier, before you got your job, you made a deal with your mom about poker versus getting a job. Do you want to tell that story?
Yes. And I've seen, this is going to relate to David Williams, who I've seen around, but I have no idea if he remembers this. So 2016 WSOP, I'm 22. I would have played the 2015 one when I was 21, but I had the internship for the bank and I couldn't miss. You can't just take vacation in a 8-week internship. So I had to miss it, which sucked. But I go to the WSOP in 2016. I have like, I don't know, 40K or something. Like I'm putting up 1,500, 3K. I'm just putting it all on the line because, like, why not? Like, I'm going to have a job. Like, who cares? Yeah,
you're young enough. You're going to future earnings crush.
Yeah. And I also didn't have anyone to sell to. So. And I wanted to play. So, so I go and I have like 1.5 weeks before my job starts. You know, I think the job started like late June and I was like there for early June, WSOP stuff. And I go and I'm in this 1,500. You start with 7,500 chips, which was cool. $1,500 get you 5x. I think before that it was even like 3x and then 1x. But
1x.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm old, but yeah, it was 1x back in my day.
Yeah, they've been slowly increasing it now. But yeah, so I go and I make it to day 2 and I have like 280,000 chips. And I'm like, everything's going my way. And then David Williams sits to my left and we're like 50 players left. And there's 400,000 for first. $400,000. I was like, that's like 8x what I make at the bank. Like, I think I got 65K to start or something. So I was like, this is like, and my mom said, like, I talked to my mom and I was like, look, if I make a big result, you don't have to go into finance. Like, I'll support you to go into poker. And, you know, my parents' support mattered to me. I could have just done whatever I wanted. But, you know, if having my parents' support, who, like, you know, they've helped me throughout everything, pay for college, always supported all my obsessions. I was like, you know what, I'll think about, you know, I'll sort of respect your wishes and whatnot. So if I make the final table, that's going to be a big enough result for her.
So was there like a bubble? Was there an amount attached to a big result? Like
I think a World Series of Poker final table would have fit.
Okay.
It's just that.
That's a big bubble. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know.
Scary as shit. Okay.
I know. Right. And so, I mean, I wasn't exactly playing. I wasn't playing like super scared money or anything, but it definitely mattered to me. Like, so we're 50 left and I had like whatever, 300,000 chips, which at the time was like 1.5x average, maybe. It was a lot of chips for the time. And I opened under the gun 9-handed to like, I remember the exact sizes because I thought about it for years. I opened to 12K with kings. Under the gun 8, David Williams makes it 40K. He has me, I have him just covered. Folds all the way around. I make it 90K. He instantly shoves. I call with kings. He has Jack 9 offsuit. Jack 9, under the gun 9, under the gun 8. And we had no dynamic. Jack 7. And I was
sorry, I'm laughing at your pain.
It was, I mean, I was so upset. Like more upset, like, I for like weeks after when I was at the bank was envisioning what my chips would have looked like, my chip stack would have looked like. And as I was sitting at my Bank of America training with all these kids looking to just make 60K for an entire year, working 50, 60, 70 hours a week. I mean, yeah, it hurt. And then ultimately I had then like 10 bigs left. Next round, I'm on the button with ace jack suit. I jam my 10 bigs. He's a small blind, he's ace queen. Oh, true. Oh, great. Here we go. I'm just
probably excited when he called. You're like, oh, thank God. He
I was
probably
like,
got some garbage.
Yeah, I was like, ace jack suit. I was like, but.
No Jack flop for Brock.
Right? That's what I was thinking. I was like, at least give me a chance. So yeah, that set me back 2 years in essence. But, you know, I was talking last night to Cherish and she was like, well, if we went back in time, what would we have changed? Honestly, I wouldn't have changed anything. Things have worked out well. I'm happy. Like if things happened in a different way, I don't know. Like I'm just very happy today. So like, yes, that was painful at the time, but it all worked out.
Yeah. No, thank you for telling that story.
That
was good.
Nice.
I've seen him since and I've never brought it up. I wonder if he remembers it because as is the case with me, you always remember the beats that are put on you. You don't remember the beats you put on someone else.
Yeah, I remember some of the beats I put on people. But either way, I love them. But yeah, no, to that point, especially an animal like David Williams, and if you haven't seen that episode, go back and watch it. He put a lot of beats on a lot of people. Like, it'd be different if it was, I don't know, just someone a little bit more conservative in their play or whatever. You know, like they might actually remember, oh yeah, the one time I got out of line, I definitely fucked somebody. But like David Williams, he fucks like 4 people a day. Like, you can't remember. Like, yeah,
it's a good point.
Will Chamberlain doesn't remember like every girl he had sex with. Like,
yeah, that's solid. Well done. Okay, so you quit your job at the bank, tell your boss to fuck off, but not really.
You actually just quit. I know you said you were going to go start your own thing, but when you said I want 3 weeks off in a row that you had earned, like what, like, and then he said no. Like, I mean, they still owed you like the weeks. Did you get paid for those?
So ultimately what happened is you do get paid out when you use your vacation days. So I ended up get paid out. I ended up getting paid out, but you know, I wish I was as brash as I kind of make it out to seem. That was just the last straw in my head.
Me, sir, but actually, my mother's very sick.
Yeah, no, I actually wrote out a whole thing of like reasons why I wanted to leave and how like I appreciated his support throughout the 2 years. I was very like I was strategic about it, and I did appreciate, he was a good mentor as a boss to me. Like, I did like who I worked with. So everything I was saying was honest, but that ultimately was just like, look, if I can't like just be able to play the World Series, like that's just everything to me at the time. Like it still is. I love the WSOP, but yeah. So I went in with sort of like a written thing to talk. And it was a very difficult thing for me to do because you go through college, you go through high school. I try to get good grades, and I did do pretty good in high school. And college, try really hard, intern, try and get good grades, and I did. And now you get the job that like a lot of people would want, when they're thinking of going into finance. I wasn't in the most prestigious part of finance, but I was in a job that was nice. I was in like right in Times Square in a huge Bank of America building. Like it was a job that, there was a clear trajectory up. So it was a sought after job. And I was really nervous because I was like, am I just like, is this just going to blow up in my face? And I was almost shaking, to be honest. It was like a really difficult thing for me to do because you quit. And like, even if you say you're not going to go play poker, I don't know what everybody's like, oh, resume gap. And so it was difficult. He ultimately was like, Brock, relax. Like, just stop reading off this piece of paper. Just talk to me. And I was like, all right. And I said I would give him 2 weeks notice, which was like, sometimes you could just leave. I did do the 2 weeks because I thought that he really appreciated that, just because I thought that, there's things I need to like, I need to like make sure that I help finish all these little projects that I'm helping people with. So yeah, that was a difficult thing.
Not to make it about me or anything, but I didn't realize how much we had in common because like I literally did almost the exact same trajectory where I worked for a couple years, 2 to 3 years. Well, actually, after 2 years, I told my boss that I was planning on quitting.
Yeah.
But I told him I was going to give him 2 months notice.
Okay.
And like I had a list of 30 things I wanted to accomplish beforehand. And like I shared it with Gary Daniels, shout out Gary Daniels. He was awesome. And literally as soon as I checked off number 30, I went to his office. It was like, I completed my list. Like, here's my 2 months notice. And like everyone was rooting for me, which was also great is since everyone knew I was kind of like out the door, my projects got a lot smaller and less intense as well. Right. So like, I basically almost got the last like 6 months off, like, like in addition, just because like the projects they gave me were like, I mean, anyone could do really. And that's cool. We kind of had like the same trajectory.
So what bankroll did you take with you to Vegas for the World Series that year?
Yeah. So I jumped over a few small things that I'll get into. So I got into college and I thought I was the shit, obviously, because I beat everyone. And I get this college game. I'm beating everyone. And then there's this other kid who comes in a year older than me who's like, hey, I want to play poker too. Like, I'll play in your game. And he demolished me. Just his name, he lives in Vegas now. He plays mostly online. His name is John Dokler. If you played on WSOP.com, you'd know him. He's very avid online player, but very smart kid. He just destroyed me. He out-aggressed me. He had like a strategy that worked great. And it made me like really have to go online and learn more about the game and like really kind of say like, okay, you need to like learn how to actually get better. Just raw aggression isn't going to do it. This guy is like outdoing you at it. Forced me to like study a little bit more online, and he got me into like a Seals with Clubs, which was like a Bitcoin poker site. Bitcoin was like $100 at this point. And I just played on it, and I think I had like $1,000, turned it into 10,000 playing in tournaments and whatnot and online. And then ultimately Bitcoin doubled. It went from 100 to 200. I was like, oh my God, I don't know what the hell this thing is. And I just doubled my money. Get me out of this. So it was an insane amount of money. I was like, all right, great. Get me out of this. And it helped me. Like I got like, some money from that, like 20K. And then, before my senior year of college, I knew that I couldn't play the World Series. So I went to the PCA and I played their 10K in January over winter break. And I only had like 35K at this point. I lost. That didn't feel good. Ultimately, 10K also I had on Lock Poker. Without that, if you guys know Lock Poker, all that was gone. So then ultimately I was kind of like by senior year, I didn't have actually that much. I think I had like 17K left and 15K left, and I had to grind it back up playing online and saving some money from work and whatnot. And then ultimately while I was working, I played, online on the side, which helped. But my friend advocated, the same friend, John Dokler, said, hey, I know we got into Bitcoin a few years ago. You should put a lot into Bitcoin. I'm really feeling good about it. This is late 2017. Bitcoin's now at 2,000-3,000, which much if I held anything from way back. Yeah. But so at this point, I think I had like, I don't know, 100K, 120K saved. And I just put it into Bitcoin. And I ended up selling it the end of the year, around 15, 17K a coin. And now I had some money.
Yeah.
So,
You had like a 7X?
That's almost too much for a person of your age. No offense, but that's a lot of money, man. Holy shit.
It was amazing. And he really helped me. He helped me improve. John Dokler helped me improve. He got me on my first Bitcoin poker site. He told me to put all my money into it. I didn't put it all in. I probably put like 80 or something in. But
that's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It was a big gamble. Yeah. But it was so smooth. If you look at the chart from late 2017 at 2 to 3K, it just went straight to 18.
No fear points.
There was no drops. I remember the night it hit 10,000, and I would just like, I would talk to some friends at work who actually I went to a friend from work's wedding recently, and she was literally like, all you talked about was Bitcoin that last year, and you're like, you paid for my wedding. She's like, I have held it since. I was like, well, you've really done well.
Wow.
She's like, you wouldn't shut up about it, and you would I would run over her desk and be like, look, it's now 9,000. I was like, oh my God, I think
So did she buy it because of you, or did you give it to them as a wedding present? She
bought it because of me.
Okay. If you gave them like a Bitcoin as a wedding present, like, Jesus, man, you're a sweetheart.
Yeah.
It's funny how much a friend's conviction can make you more convicted than like your own theories.
Yeah.
That way, if it fucks off, you're like, fucking Brock. Right. It's so much easier to alleviate all the stress of like you being wrong yourself.
Yeah.
Either you make all the money or Brock's an idiot. Like, I mean, like, that's an okay, like,
and then he can pass the buck to Dokler.
Right. Exactly. And it was funny. She actually worked with me at Bank of America, but she went to the same college as me, Fordham. So she knew John Dokler. So I was the one who put it in her face all the time, but the conviction was that I was like, dude, Dokler's saying to do this. You need to do it. And she's like, yeah. Like he said, they were the same year. They're both a year above me at school. So but that was huge for her. She kept holding it. She's held it ever since. She just didn't touch it. So now Bitcoin's at 100, whatever. Like she's like,
she's still holding it.
Yeah, I know. I was like, you deserve it through all the ups and downs. Because John told me to sell it at 18K. And I don't know if you look in 2018, it dropped down to 3 again. So like he timed it perfectly for me. And I mean, that was huge. And all of a sudden I was able to then play a little bit higher stakes poker. I remember going to the Borgata, and like usually the max I would play is 510. I was like, there's 25-50 going. I was like, fuck it, I'm in there. And I would play, and the 25-50 Borgata game was very nitty. But because I was like, oh, these big stakes Borgata guys. I was like, I've never played this because these guys are going to be nuts. They're going to put me in all these spots. And no, a bunch of iPads and waiting for some of the recreational players to just, pay them off. I was like, there was no rake. So it was actually pretty fun. 25-50 Borgata is pretty fun when because I'm used to 5-10 and 2-5 where if you run people over in small pots, it doesn't go too good. You just, all your money goes to the rake.
Yeah.
So, but in 25-50, I was like, the small pots matter.
It's like, what, $6 a half hour or something like that? Or
Yeah, I don't remember what the rake was, but it wasn't pulled out of the pot in each one. So it was,
I hate those chips at the Borgata.
Yeah, they're sticky.
They're like magnets or something.
Yeah.
You can't shuffle them. You look stupid when you try to shuffle them.
Are you tired of playing with players like this? Not this.
No.
This? Or this?
Or do you want to play with players like this?
Oh, wait. If you like having fun at the poker table, Table 1 is the game for you. We play high stakes, no limit, 100 blinds. And if you want to get into the game, it's actually super easy. We have a website, table1.vegas. You just go to the website, you click get a seat in the game, and fill out the form. It's that easy. It's your name, it's your phone number, it's the date that you're here, and I will personally reach out to you.
And it's only $5K minimum buy-in. Run it up at 2.5 and join us. All right, so your bankroll is infinite, basically. So all that, that was two awesome stories to lead up to the fact that you're the richest 25-year-old I've ever seen in my life.
I was only 23, actually.
23. Jesus. Oh, that's still sexy. All right. So you have infinite money.
Yeah.
Do you have a game plan going into basically your first start to end World Series of Poker? I mean, you have to be a kid on Christmas. I understand the feeling. Yeah. I know the first time I played a full I was playing events I didn't know the rules to just because I was so fucking excited to play. It was just $1,500 stud. Fucking in, let's go. It was awesome. So what was your kind of game plan for this?
Pure no limit. I still haven't touched any other games. I probably should. I talked to one of my friends now, Justin Saliba, has gotten into some mixed games. He keeps telling me you need to make it a point. Just give it 2 weeks, learn the games, get into them. Still haven't done it, but back then for sure not. I mean, there was always other venues. Back then they had the Venetian had some stuff. The Wynn wasn't as big, to be honest, but I would just, whatever they had that day, I would go and play it. And I still do the same thing where if I bust one thing, I'm into another. If I bust that, I'm into another. And I would even play the nightlies. Then they had a 3:30 turbo at 8 p.m. I was in that. I would play anything there was.
Your net worth is that much? And you're still playing the 3:30 nightlies? Oh my God, you're sicko. He does have 19 pages on Card Player of cashes, by the way. 19 pages. I've never seen one bigger, by the way. It was insane. I was like, this kid's 30. How the hell does he do that? Okay, but that makes some sense now.
I really do play a lot. Yeah, that makes sense. I've never compared how many. I've never compared how many pages I have relative to others, but it would make sense that I have a lot more than other people because I just play so much. But yeah, so I'm hopping around playing everything, and it didn't go good for the first. I think I was down 30 or 40K, and I was really surprised. I thought, give me a whole World Series. I was like, I went out for a week. If I just held versus David Williams, I would have fucking won the turn. I was like, if I can play, I got there the second week because I gave 2 weeks notice to my job, but I thought, for sure I'll final table something. Have to. I have so many chances, and didn't happen. And it was kind of humbling a little bit. I did think that it would just go great, and I have a lot of people also, you got to remember when you first quit your job, as you noted for you, you had people rooting for you, people are watching. People are all right, let's see it. Let's see it. And I'm there's so many terms with 6 figures up top. I'm going to get one of them, right? Have to. And no, at end of the summer, fortunately, I played this Win 1K one day that I chopped 4-way.
For 52K or something.
Yeah, exactly. For 52K. And I shouldn't have even done that, but I wanted to lock up a winning summer. The remaining 4 were players that didn't play full time. So it was the sort of thing where I felt that I had an advantage over them, but I just wanted to, I think I was locked up 21K and it was 100K up top. I was I just want to lock up a winning summer, just something to go home with. Look, I won. So we chopped, and that was huge. I was so happy. It just felt so good to do that. But then I just, I think a few of the friends I met right at the beginning were Steven Sung, Adam Hendricks. There were a few others that Mike Rosito, And those were kind of the main guys. I'm blanking if there were some others. Yeah, I met more along the way, but those were the sort of the guys that I first sort of were talking a lot with. And I then, as soon as the World Series ended, me and Steven lived in Connecticut, Greenwich. I lived in Westchester, New York, they were 20 minutes apart. We're not even home for 3 days. And we're like, let's go to Choctaw. First flight to Choctaw, then let's go to the Seminole Hard Rock. So we were just everywhere. We just played everything. So ultimately, I had a few smaller scores, but for the whole first year, I think I made like 100K online, but live, I just didn't do that well. And for the longest time, my friends like Adam Hendricks and Steven and Mike, they would have much bigger live scores than me. And I was just that guy. And I empathize now with some of the young kids who play at tournaments live. The thing is if people continue to see you play, everyone kind of knows if you're winning or losing because it's all public. It's all like, let's look this guy up. Has he any scores? Well, I see him at a lot of stops. Like
I
he's
see him every day and
I don't see anything. And it's like the sort of thing where you're a young kid. You don't really, you feel there's everyone in poker. And this is really a lot of poker comes down to this is like, there's a lot of insecurity. Like there's a lot of resentment when someone wins who you don't think deserves it. Sure. Whenever you're winning and oh, that guy's so lucky. Like I'm just as good. I should be winning as much. But it's like, it's this really deep down thing where it's like, it's a very, especially tournaments, it's a very public thing. People see it, people judge you. And like, you're a young kid, you're kind of trying to establish yourself. You have other people watching from other parts of your life who you're trying to prove it to. That's the thing with poker. It's like, you're trying to prove that you should do this. It's not a thing that parents are like, it's not like, oh, I'm going to go be a doctor. Like, and everyone's proud of you already. Like so it was the sort of thing where, I wasn't first year. I had some scores. I had some 40K scores. I won a few tournaments for like 20K and 50K, but I played a couple of bigger stakes tournaments. I played 10Ks. I played a couple 25Ks. Like I should have had my biggest score for the longest time was 65K. And it was something that, I couldn't get that monkey off my back while my friends were. And like, I was the kind of kid who was like, I'll just outwork my friends. Like, I was the guy in my group of friends who I really like studying. I genuinely kind of like find it really interesting. Like in school, studying was always something that I kind of didn't mind. I was always a kid who really wouldn't pay attention in class, but then I would go home and I would just study while watching TV and I would just like read over stuff. So like the process of like kind of doing stuff when you're not, at playing poker, like looking over poker stuff while watching TV. I would always do something while watching TV. Same, I always like to multitask. I can never just focus on one thing. I'm not the kind of guy who just sits down and like study. Like but I would always be looking over stuff and trying to improve. And my friends who, they were a little bit more like, show up, like Steven, Adam, Mike. They were guys that they'd show up, they'd play, they'd notice some stuff, they'd do a little bit, but they wouldn't do a ton. And I was like, it just isn't happening for me. And what I realized with poker, and I think this now, is that if you're pure study, you're missing a lot. Like you're missing a lot. Like there's so many things that like I was doing so wrong in 2018, 19, 20, because I didn't notice certain things. Like I was honestly, I think I was getting destroyed. My first year, I was getting destroyed by Rex because they would do some stuff and I would react terribly to it. I would just assume that they're thinking the same way I'm thinking, and they're not. But like, if you think like that, you're ultimately then you're just going to not make good decisions. So like experience is just so huge, I think, in poker that like, I see some young kids now who are like, I know I'm getting a little off topic, but yeah, some young kids now that they come in and they study, like you can learn poker now just kind of through a computer almost. Like you can just use GTO Wizard, look at all these spots, but then they come in and they just don't have the experience yet. So like when I see young kids and they're like, selling action or whatnot, I'm like, look, I'll take your action, but like I want it at base or something, and I'll teach you some of these like little things that you're for sure messing up. Because it's like, and I'll always say, because I see a lot of these young kids play, and they're like, they'll get really tripped up by these wrecks. Some of these wrecks I actually think have positive win rates against some of these like solver kids, because no one's actually that sick at solvers. You notice things, but people always have their own preconceived notions. Like, you look up a spot and you're like, you busted in this hand. You look up this spot and it's like, okay, you should have bet this and you should bet that. And people are always just looking for comfort. Like when you bust, there's some pain associated with it. And the reason a lot of people want to look at a solver is they want to just tell themselves, I did okay. But there's a lot that goes on below the surface with solvers. And it's like, everything's like very subject to like little changes in how your opponent's going to react can completely change your strategy. And they're just, I know people are like, oh, GTO is like changing poker. And if you don't play this way, you're just screwed. But honestly, the equilibriums are very fragile and the best players are not purely playing that way. So like very off topic thing about.
No, I agree. And like, I think Art's the one that showed me the clip or whatever, but I don't know if you saw do you follow Greg Goes All In, the GG representative or whatever? He does those shorts.
I follow a lot of poker stuff. I actually don't really see his stuff much though.
I mean, it's just more comical or whatever, but I think he came out with something maybe like a year and a half ago, which was just great. Like a GTO wizard is on this guy's shoulder, like an old guy opens and he's in the small blind with like ace-5 suited or something like that. And he's like, it's a clear 3-bet. And he was like, yeah, the guy's old though. Come on. Like, I mean, can we just see a flop and just outplay him? You're like, no, it's a clear 3-bet. And so like he 3-bets and the guy like 4-bets and the GTO was like, it's an all in. He's like, come on, man, this guy's really old. Like, I'm pretty sure we should just be folding here. Right. And he's like, it's all in. He's like, all right, I'm all in. And then goes like, no, call, I have aces.
The wizard like shoots his chips into the pot for him. He's like, no, wait.
It's really fucking funny. But like, to your point, I think that's why a lot of the pure GTO or the ones that want to do pure GTO without the experience, they run into these spots where like they assume everyone's thinking along the same lines. And they're assuming that because this is what the charts say, I'm playing perfect. So like if I happen to bust, I can at least show my backer, my mom, my old boss, and just be like, look, this is fine. Like, I mean, you know, it's not like you got against David Williams with like Kings versus Jack 9 or anything. Like it's, you can actually point to like exactly what you did right.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at the charts, I think Jack 9 off is a 20% frequency all in there.
Right. Yeah. That's one that's going to stick with me.
Sorry, I was just going to say, you mentioned like buying action and a little bit of coaching. One of the other things I looked at was you were early on pre-scum Imsirovic. You bought his action.
Right. I forgot all about that.
You were backing him for a while, right, Ali?
I was not.
I thought Ali was buying pieces of him.
Oh, which way was it?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a.
Yeah. So with Ali, I met Ali sort of online. Like we both played some tournaments on America's Card Room, and he played in like 2015-ish, and he was way ahead of his time always. He was one of the sharpest poker minds, really.
And dressers.
Some hoodies.
a lot of those hoodies. Yeah. He was really sharp. Like I would talk a good amount with him and with some other friends too, as well. Like Steven and Adam were like friendly with him as well. We were all sort of talk, and he was just, he was good. Like he knew everything really quick. He was really good exploitatively. And then from a theory perspective, he was quick. He used solvers before anyone. And he would start to play like higher and higher stakes as like 2017, 18 kind of rolled around. And I made some money, as I said, with Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. So I bought some pieces of him. I think one of his first scores, was a PCA 10K in January of 2018. And I took half. He was like, I want to keep half. I need to take half. Do you want it? I was like, $5,000 one term. That's a lot of money. But I was like, okay, I'll do it. And he won it for 160K. I was like, sweet. I just made 80 grand. I was like, so this is part of like I said, I was starting to play higher stakes. Like, I took some bigger risks, but Ali never backed me, and I never backed Ali. I took some pieces of him. I had some pieces of his first Poker Masters win. I would always be a supporter of his action. Like if he wanted to sell, I was there to buy. And this is obviously he then skyrocketed and like was friends with all sorts of huge names that I was not friends with. And it was sort of thing where me, Steven, and Adam, we kind of stayed in our lane a little bit, and Ali just took off like a rocket. But if he was ever down to sell, I really believed in his game, and understandably so. Like he completely killed it in live poker. Like say whatever you want about online and whatnot, but live, like he was a genius. Like with that. Yeah,
he was. I mean, there's one of like 20 guys in the last 20 years you can point to and be like, that was the Ali era.
Yeah.
It was, and he definitely crushed for a good like 12 to 18 months. That's for sure.
Yeah. And it was fortunate that honestly I had the money. I had a lot of money because like if you're backed by someone, there's obviously weird entanglements that happen emotionally. Like, obviously if you're backed and you're in 200K makeup, right? Like someone has a lot more sort of say and control over what you do and I was fortunately never in that situation. When the whole Ali thing went down, because I was friends with Ali, I was one of the guys who, when he would play high rollers, he would take my action in high rollers. Like when I had to sell 25Ks, well, obviously he's a great guy to sell to. He's a fantastic poker player. And he also has done really well. So he can afford to take big pieces. I didn't know many other people to take big. So in the first 25Ks and stuff that I played, I bricked a lot of them. He would take the action. And then in late 2019, I had my big sort of finally breakout score, and he had a piece of that as well. And this was in the Bahamas. I chopped with like Adrian Mateos, a heads up for 619K, which was that was very life-changing for me. Just like all in all, like.
So is that,
but
I wouldn't say that's because obviously I can only see the tournaments you've cashed for.
Yeah.
But like it did seem like kind of like a drastic change from like a lot of like 1Ks to like 3Ks to all of a sudden, like it was a lot of 10, 25s, handful of 50s mixed in or whatever. Like, is that kind of like the same time frame where people believed in you, Ali took pieces or whatever, like whatever. It was a lot easier to play those tournaments.
Yeah. I mean, he helped me a lot in the way that he had confidence in me to play these bigger stakes where like I kind of just jumped. Like I was like playing these mid-stakes tournaments and I didn't really have a big score because there's a lot of variance and I also wasn't doing things optimally. Like as I said, I was getting probably kind of owned by some wrecks, and Steven Sung's the one who really helped me like get past that. He's Mr. like intuitive, like figure out how these different people are thinking. He's very social at the table. And like it's in a genuine way, but it's always in a way that he gets to understand people in a really deeper way, I think, just because he genuinely cares about talking to people and whatnot. So he helped me sort of learn a little bit more how these different player types think. But regardless, I I wasn't getting the scores I wanted. And Ollie was like, okay, you could play these bigger stuff. And he had confidence. And I just ultimately jumped into them. And I just ended up running hotter in those than I did in those. And I had some pretty big scores back to back to back that all really, I mean, it was huge for me. I took bigger pieces too, because it was hard for me to sell. So like, it actually worked out great in the end. But that I don't recommend just jumping up and playing the big stuff, but I studied a lot and I really, my effort, I mean, still I'm really dedicated to always improving at poker, but back then I was everything. It's all I did.
And not to diminish your results, but like you talked that some of your leaks were against more recreational thinking.
Yeah.
Do you think like jumping up in stakes kind of like masked or like band-aided some of that stuff?
Yeah, it's funny because they say the joke is like move up to where they'll respect your raises.
He says that all the time.
I was about to say it just now.
But like it's kind of true. Like some of the recreational players in 25Ks, honestly, they're smarter people and not on average smarter people, like, just because they have to have gotten the money somewhere, and maybe some people luckbox their money to luckbox.
Maybe they got into crypto in like 2015 or whatever.
Right.
Like,
I mean,
also if they're playing 25Ks, they probably have to face a lot of tough players. So
so
that's also true.
So a lot of these recreational players you see in these Tritons, now like these recreational players are pretty good, not because they're studying, but they're smart guys like, wow, this is really annoying to face. Maybe I should bet that. Mm-hmm. And like, so they improve. So, but regardless, playing these 25Ks, I think it was just obviously a lot of it's variance, but I think playing them, I could better understand what they were thinking a little bit, just because like they're a little bit more thinking in a way, probably as the way I was. So it's more relatable for me. It's more easy to be like, in this spot, I think I might bet this size with this kind of hand for this reason. And then as the counter opponent, I'm like, well, if he's doing that, I should probably be folding this hand, or maybe I should just jam. It's going to be really hard to call an all in with this, or whatever. So that kind of stuff, I think it just sort of I had a better understanding, and that helped a lot.
Okay. So you mentioned like you kind of like the back to back to back like things, and like I know the down in the Bahamas was the big one. I think it was the same year, or maybe it was the year after. Excuse me, or like the win like 2K. Was that like one of the big three, or was that a year later?
Yeah. So it was in November. It was the Bahamas 25K, which I chopped for 619. Right after that, I played the 25K Seminole Hard Rock.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And I chopped it with Bryn Kenny,
Mm-hmm.
which Bryn Kenny, I think this 2019 was his year. I mean, he's had a lot of good years since, but this was his. I think he chopped with me heads up because he had the chip lead and he would have gotten the win. And I was like, damn, he wants to chop with me. And I don't have to give up anything. Yeah, I'll do that. Like, and really, I think the reason he did was he just wanted the win for GPI because it was the end of the year. So, but I didn't know that at the time. I was like, yeah,
he would have given you more. Is what you're saying. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but and then right after that, I went and played this bike 10K, and I then won it for 110K, which was just another, again, like it was not that easy for me to sell. So like these are big wins when 600K, 286K, 110, like it wasn't the most responsible for me to play, but I wanted to play them. And like, it was only, those worked out amazing. And then I ultimately went to, I then played like another main and in some 1700 and the bike main right after. I got like 5th for like 45K. So I was like, I really now cemented my like, all right, this is something that I can do. Like, cause honestly, I would play poker full time if I made just enough to get by. Like, I love it. It's not about the money for me. It's about like, I just want to be able to justify continuing to do this for a living. Cause I just can't imagine wanting to do anything else. Like that's what people ask me. Like, I think right after these scores, they're like, okay, what are your goals? I was like, my goal is just to be able to keep doing this. I don't necessarily think I'll ever be the best player in the world. I don't think that I don't need to make $1 bazillion. I'm not trying to make a bunch and then like leave and do something. I just really like it. I think it's just something that my obsession for it and my passion for it hasn't subsided at all in the 18 years that I've played. And I don't think I really don't think it will.
That's passion right there, folks.
Yeah. That's the definition of what a poker player should be right there, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope you maintain the fire or whatever. Cause like, I know I was like you and whatever, like some personal things can happen. Like, poker relationships can happen. They can kind of like chip away at that kind of beautiful idea of what this game's supposed to be. But I'm glad you haven't had to face any of that. Or if you have, I'm glad you kind of rose above it or whatever. Yeah. But let's get back to the poker playing because you have had well over $12 million in earnings. So like, we still have some more stuff to get to.
Yeah.
So you say it was never really about the money or whatever. And like whatever, through selling pieces or buying pieces, you've kind of like built up confidence and a bankroll, like a working bankroll.
Yep.
Kind of Carrie Cat started doing his own thing with like the Poker Go stuff. But even before that, he was like running like, 10 and 25Ks. Did you play any of those or was that on your radar at all?
Yeah. So the 10, 25Ks, I think really started in like, I know this because I was like watching them, but I think in like 2013, 14, 15, 16 era, like I obviously wasn't in those. And then 2019, I played a couple of the Poker Go 10Ks, but I didn't do too good. My first 10K, I just completely punted it. Like I sat down and it was late 2018 and it was Justin Bonomo. My table was so bad. I was like, I mean, what a fish I was. I also like was very cringe and I had like a table of like Steven Chidwick, Bonomo, Schindler, Sean Winter. And I did some cringe stuff because I was such a fanboy.
Guys, my name online was Ivy and Durr, but I was gonna go Stevie and Winter.
You're dragging the pot. It's like, is that check raise okay? I'm not really sure. I don't know.
I mean, yeah. I see it happen today where the kids will do similar stuff like,
oh my, that's how we learn.
That check raise. Yeah, like that kind of stuff. And it was bad. But regardless, my like fourth hand in, I raised to like 3K in the hijack with jacks. Right behind me, winner flats. Button was Jake Schindler, and he goes 12K. And immediately, I have jacks. I was immediately like, okay, well, obviously winner's flatting me wide because they think I suck. And then Schindler's obviously squeezing because if Winner had anything good, he would have 3-bet the fish. Bonomo then cold fours the big blind with 20 to 28K. I was like, oh, and Bonomo knows all of this. But they're just trying to destroy me here with my jacks. I have like 125 bigs and jacks. I'm like, what do they think? I'm some chump? All in. Fold, snap, call aces, out. It's like, fuck. It's like, that was a lot of money. I didn't really sell much. I was like, shit. Oh, well, yeah. And that
at least I was right about the first two guys.
Right. So, yeah, I knew they had nothing.
They both had queens and folded.
Yeah. But yeah, so I played that in 2018. 2019, I had those scores, but then after that, it was 2020 and COVID happened.
Yeah.
And so no, right when we came out of COVID, I think Adam mentioned on his podcast, but during COVID, I moved to Vegas. I moved into the Veer, which was right across from the studio. So as soon as COVID was over, 2021 era, I was at the studio for everything. I played anything there was to play. I was going to be there and play. So I definitely was super appreciative and supportive of having great poker right at the studio. They do a great thing, rake-free first bullet. Now they do 100 on 10K. Which
very reasonable. Yeah.
Very 1% rake.
That's perfectly fine.
And you get like free food too, so it almost is rake-free. So they do a really great job. It was also so cool. Like you make a final table, you get on Poker Go. Like that was awesome. Like especially for like, not just like, making a name in poker, but like, which is whatever, but like your friends from home who like, it's so cool to like have your parents see it, have people who you haven't spoken to in a really long time be like, hey, it used to be, I think sometimes it's like on CBS Sports or something or somewhere, but
used to be on Spike even, FS1. Yeah. It used to be on a bunch of different stuff. Yeah. Or it still is. Sorry.
Yeah. And it's really cool just having people reach out to you. Like you were always so into poker. It's so cool to see you now. Like I always felt like very like similar to a lot of my friends in some ways, but I always felt like there was a part of me in high school and college that like, I had friends, but like there was always a part of me that was just different because I always had this thing that I just really loved playing poker. And John Dokler didn't love poker as much as I did. He like got me into it. He ultimately now kind of does some poker, but he does a lot of other stuff that he's really sharp. He's sports betting and whatnot and a lot of different things. But I never really had a friend who was as into it as me. So like, it's really cool. I was always that guy. I was like, oh yeah, I play poker. And they're like, all right, yeah.
So does my niece.
Right.
Yeah, she goes to New Orleans every other Saturday.
Right, she plays 1-2 over there. Yeah. So it's just it's cool that like a lot of different people are like, really happy for you. Like they're like, you really loved this. It's really cool to see that you're now doing this. So ultimately, those Poker Go, I would get just a lot of different it would connect me with a lot of different people. So it really cemented a lot of sort of what I'd kind of been like my dream, like, of just being able to make it. And yeah, I love those events. We played PGT event yesterday, like still really in there supporting them. And yeah, that was huge for me. It was right across the street. I lived at the Veer, so I could see it right from it's
hard to say no.
I saw Justin walk in. He's like, well, I'm not going to miss this one.
A lot of Justin Young types.
Okay. Is that around right after COVID, around the time you got into pokercoaching.com, or was that before?
No. So I got into poker coaching in like mid 2022, and I got closer with Justin Saliba, who lives in Vegas, when I moved to Vegas. And he sort of works a lot with Jonathan Little. And he was always like, hey, you seem to really like talking about and teaching poker. And I've always really liked teaching. Like, I always think that like, if you have trouble explaining it, you might not understand it as well as you think you do, which I realize that now I've talked to more people who are really good, and that's not always the case. Like sometimes you can just like, you kind of get it and it clicks, but you can't put it into words. But at the time I really was like, you know what? I want to work on just like explaining, talking about it. And I always felt like I had a knack for that. And Justin kind of agreed and was like, hey, you should like maybe make some videos for us. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, like I think I would like that. And, I had backed a couple of friends and helped them sort of improve, and that went well. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll do this. And it's been great. I've been working now with them for 3 years, and they've really built up a lot more people that are really strong players that each offer something different. Like David Peters, Shannon Shore, Chris Brewer, Justin, Adam Hendricks. There's more. James Romero was even one of the first ones. They had John Jaffe. Like they had, John Jaffe. The Jaffe's.
Definitely not Jared. He's not going to watch it. Sorry.
Yeah, that's one of the things I looked at because I know in the past, like people had targeted Jonathan Little and been like, you're just for teaching ABC to like beginners. And then I looked through the list of coaches and I was like, man, these guys are teaching cursive. This is not the ABC.
No, for sure. The list of teachers, I feel like it's grown exponentially over the last like 2 years, but like it is a who's who list. And to your point, like they all have different styles, which is what I appreciate about that coaching site. Because it's not like the same or 5 different teachers teaching the same like regurgitated like thing. Like everyone's got kind of their own little niche style, and they all like are winning. Because like you don't play like Jaffe, and you don't play like Peters. No, but like you all win.
Right. Yeah. And the other one I forgot, Aram Zobian too. He was really one who has a definitely different perspective on, but offers really good insights. Like I watched the different coaches' videos. I think they're really good, and they've definitely built up their roster a lot. I mean, they still have the stuff to help people who are getting into the game, but the issue with a lot of coaching sites is that a lot of coaching sites are great, like GTO Lab, fucking amazing players, but like I can't tell someone, hey, I'm looking to get better at poker. I can't tell them to go to GTO Lab, right? Like it'd be like have Petrangelo, talking super high level stuff that's really beneficial to me, but like they're gonna be like, what is this? So what's great about poker coaching is that it will bring you from level ABC 1 to like being able to really feel confident playing big stakes tournaments. Like it's cool how they still have like the low level stuff to help you like learn the game, learn the fundamentals, learn the basics, learn how to beat all sorts of 1-2, 2-5, whatever. But like, it'll help you go the full way. But no
matter what skill level you're at, it's like a value ladder of I like that.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if he's your direct boss. I'm not trying to say, but how is it working for Jonathan Knoll? Because like I've known Jonathan forever. Yeah. I love that guy so fucking much. I really do. I love you, Jonathan. like you kind of not answered him. That's the wrong way to put it, but like how's working with him to make content?
Yeah, it's interesting. I really don't talk a ton to John. I kind of just talk to Justin. Okay. And Justin, I think he's been involved with poker coaching for a number of years now, where like he sort of like moves. He's sort of like managing some of the coaches, I guess. And I just go over to his place and record some videos. He has the full setup. It's a great setup like you guys have here. I don't have to do anything. I just sit there, press record, talk about stuff that I find interesting and that I think will be helpful for people. I leave and then that's it. I negotiate sort of like terms with him, and I don't really think I've ever talked to John Little about anything about poker coaching other than I'll talk to him at the table. But well,
Justin's nice too. I didn't mean to leave you. You're great too, Justin.
John's like, oh, poker coaching, huh? I like that badge. Do you work for us?
Do you foresee yourself doing this for like the foreseeable future? I mean, like it seems like you have a real passion, not just for poker, but for like sharing stuff about poker. So like I feel like this is a really good avenue for you to be in.
Yeah. I foresee myself staying with poker coaching for a long time. Yeah, I like their site. I think they've got a lot of new stuff coming out. Like there's so much. They've got a peak GTO thing, sort of thing that is like a competitor now to some stuff that GTO Wizards put out. They're really advancing not only in their coaches but in their technology. So I think that they're becoming not a one-stop shop, because I'm gonna always watch all the poker content there is, all the coaches. I'm gonna try and use all the different softwares that there are on some level just to be familiar. But that I definitely foresee myself staying with them. And, I also like through that I've done some more private coaching where people will sort of see like, oh, I notice how you talk about this. That resonates with me, the way you break down these spots. Like if you have some time, we could do some private coaching. And it's also led to some spots where like I get some kids who reach out and I'm like, I like the way you think about the game. Like if you're selling, like, let me know.
Oh, cool.
Like, and that's, I haven't done that. I didn't do that as much at the start when I was coaching in 2022, 23, 24. So, the early students don't need to feel bad. I wasn't doing it too much back then, but now like I'm keeping an open mind to it. Cause I think a lot of these lower stakes tournaments, there's a lot of value in them. Like if you're going to if you're going to show up and it's such an advantage for some young kids or whoever can put their whole focus into poker when other people, some of the best players now, they have families, they have kids. Like, it's like ultimately being young and being able to put everything into just, your whole goal is your whole identity. Like, I think when you're young, your whole identity comes from poker. And as you get older, your identity starts to branch out into more things because your life just gets more diverse on average. But yeah, so I think these young kids, they're just, there's value in like helping them out, kind of saying, hey, I made some of these mistakes. I think I kind of know what you're probably tripping up because I not only saw what I did, but I have friends who kind of went through the process too. Now I feel like I'm not like an old soul in poker or anything. I'm 31. I'm still plenty young, but I've seen the pitfalls. I've seen people play a bunch of these and fall out.
19 pages of card. You've seen it all, guys. Well,
I mean, for a 31-year-old, that 19 pages is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, putting your money where your mouth is on like the people that you're coaching, being willing to buy a piece, I think that speaks enough volume there that if
that I believe in what I...
Yeah, I mean, you're believing your bullshit, right? You're betting on it, so...
Yeah.
Okay, cool, man.
I do... sorry.
No, go ahead. I got...
Not that it was like a second coming of Brock or anything like that, but I do want to talk about like the last 18 months because like I feel like the last 18 months, I keep reading your name as in the final tables and stuff like that, and not that anything's changed or anything like that, but I at least want to talk about like some of the stuff, at least like the 50K at the World Series was it this year or last year?
It was this year.
This year, yeah. Like I mean, there was the last 18 months for you was quite impressive, I thought.
Yeah, thanks. So I would say that I took forever to get a good main score. Like it's tough, the variance in these tournaments with so many thousands of people. Like it took me forever. And ultimately, I think one of my biggest things was last summer. I played a 25K at the Win. This was summer 2024. Played a 25K at the Win and I won it for 570K, which was like really cool. I played with a lot of good players and I thought I played really well. I was proud of that. And then like, that kind of gave me some confidence because honestly, like 2023, I had some scores, but it was thing with poker tournaments is you only see when someone wins, right? So like, I definitely have done really well in the last 18 months, but 2023 wasn't the best. Like I had some early scores in 2023. I won, 2 tournaments early, but then the rest of 2023, I had some poker go scores and whatnot. But someone wins a poker tournament for 200K, it's great, but it's 20 buy-ins, right? It's good, but like,
it'll be gone in 2 months. I mean,
it really will be. If nothing else comes, it's gone. Yeah. So it's like, ultimately, in 2024, I had that score, which was great. And then the next week, there was a Win 2200 and played that 1,900 players. And I won it for 626K. And I was like, finally, like a real main score. And like, that was huge because obviously I'm I get all of that. Like 25K I'm selling too. So
sure.
Just very huge. And then with that, I went on like another, like the cool thing about when you're doing well in tournaments is you feel this sense of like, you just feel more confident. Like it's much easier. Most days in poker, you're going to play poker tournaments, you're going to lose. So like that when you have this like nest egg, like I'm already up this amount, like you try things that you wouldn't try, you'll make calls that you wouldn't make. And also there's this like, not a fear factor a little bit, but like, if you're the kind of guy who like people start to recognize your name more, it's the sort of thing where like, this is like the sort of Darren Elias, Alex Foxen sort of effect. I was always like, when they raise the hijack and they have Jack 10 offsuit, it should be making 0.07 of a big. It shouldn't be make that much, like, because you should get 3-bet and shit out of the pot. But like when Darren or Alex Foxen raise, the cutoff's going to look down at their like, let's say King 8 suited, and they're like, okay, I should be calling and 3-betting some, but it's Fox. I'm not, I don't need to do that. Fold. Button now. Same thing. Like, I could 3-bet my, ace 8 suited, but you know what? I want to keep the pot small. I'm just going to call. And like, it's that sort of thing where like now when they open Jack 10 off in the hijack, instead of making 0.07 of a big, it might make 0.5 of a big. It might make a lot more. And then that compounds that they then get all these like free up, or, now you 3-bet them and they're like, I should probably call, but he's just going to outplay me post. I'm going to fold. And you get all these free chips that like really help. So like when you're winning a lot and people recognize your name, even recreational players, like regs are going to be like, okay, he's still the same player. He just fucking won a tournament. But like a rec, and even regs too. So
regs too. I was going to say, like, I think it's effective.
Yeah, and it just, so you're winning, and now you're just winning more free chips. You're more confident. You don't care as much if you lose. It's just such a big advantage. Like so I went on a sort of a streak where I then went to Barcelona and I went deep in like a couple of tournaments, and then, I swapped with the fucking winner, Steven Sung, which was pretty nice. Yeah. I went to Poker Masters. I won a 15K for 330K. And then I like had a bunch of stuff. I FT'd something at the win, a 1600 that I played with Cherish. And me and Cherish literally got to the top 3 both. She ended up winning. I chopped 3-handed with her, but like I just had I chopped like 80K. And then I went to the NAPT and FT'd the 25K and then FT'd the main 2. And it just all kind of came together all at once to like, that it was big. It was big for me for sure. And, I think that it's a lot. It was great, but like I said, there were losses to make up in 2023. Like I think I was down, I don't know, on my own action, like 250K for the year. And like, I went to Triton, Monte Carlo, and you wouldn't know it because if there's 19 pages, no evidence of it. So there goes like 700K in buy-ins that ultimately wasn't all my money, but like, that sucks. Like a lot of people who believed in me lost a fucking lot of money.
Exactly. I mean, if it's not just your money, it's also the confidence of the people that believed in you. Yeah. And I think that's almost more valuable than the money when you lose in that stuff, in all honesty.
Yeah, I hate losing other people's money because they don't know that I know that I played it in a way that I feel confident on, but like a lot of people you sell to, if you have better players you sell, I almost like selling to better players because they know if I played it well, I'd be like, I played this, and that. And they're like, no, you played it good, you're good. But like if you sell to someone who isn't as experienced as you, they don't know how you're faring against these really good players. Like they might think, shouldn't have bought that. That was stupid. And you're like, you feel this like insecurity, which again is like a lot of poker. You're like, no, I really believe that this was the best play in the moment. And in the back of your head, you're like, man, if I jam here, this hand is going to look really bad. I really think he doesn't have it. And then it doesn't work. And you're like, well, but I think it usually would. And they're like, yeah, dude. Like, sure. But it's that sort of thing that like losing other people's money sucks. And it's the sort of thing where like, I love it when I make someone a bunch. I'm like, I'm going to sell to you for a while now. Cause if I lose it back, you're still up on me.
Yeah.
Like that feels a lot better. And in terms of the 50K that you were talking about this summer, honestly, that was really cool. I got 4th in a WSOP 50K playing against some super legends. Like when I 4-handed, I was like, fuck it. I was playing with Jason Kuhn, Ben Tollerane, and Lucky Chewy, which were like the best, like way better than me players. And I'm like, this is really cool to be playing these guys. Like Ben and Jason are like, we talk to most people, they're the absolute best in the world.
It's close. That's a lot of people's Mount Rushmore. Like those 3 guys right there.
Chewy's been killing it forever. And I imagine if he played more of the Tritons, then he would be doing just as well as Jason and Ben. Like it was very cool. But ultimately I cashed for 650. I definitely made some mistakes. There were some key hands that I think I misplay, which is okay. Like I'm playing against great players. I went for an exploitive type bet fold against Jason Kuhn in a spot where we had the same hand and I thought he had it. And it ended up like completely screwing my stack. And I ended up with 4-handed, I ended up getting 4th, but whatever. I went with what I believed. And I think that, if I always try and like, I think what sets apart the best players is a guy who's like, you know what? If I believe that this is the best thing in this moment, I'm going to do it. Like an Adrian Mateos is like one of those guys who I always looked up to. He's a guy who like, he understands poker, but solvers, but he's going to do what he thinks is best in that situation. And he's going to live and die with it. That's what I did in that 50K. And I ended up getting, it was my biggest score, 4th for 650. I didn't actually make that much, whatever. But
still, like, I mean, sitting down to play a 50K, just take some balls in general.
Yeah.
And then even once you make a day 2, like it takes extra balls to like, because it's easy when you sit down the first time, or at least it was for me, the times I've played that big. I'm just going to like, fuck these guys. I can I can just play my game. I'll be okay. And then you wake up on day 2, you go to bed happy, or I would. I was like, oh man, I did my best. I wake up, I'm like, fuck, all right. where was all that confidence I had on day one? Because I could use some of that now. Because like, look at this table draw. I'm like,
right.
It's very much in my face now. Like, you know, what mistake I may have made. And like, I know you're better at poker than I am, and I'm not trying to compare the two, but like, it's a little bit more daunting. That's why I want to talk to you about that tournament specifically. Like, whatever, waking up on day two and still being in, having chips, and like seeing your table draw, and then like getting to the final table and looking at that final table it's very daunting, and like it can start to kind of erode some of that like confidence that you made for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, so in terms of that tournament, I just had piles the whole tournament. It makes it a lot easier. I just always had everyone covered. I think I had 30% of the chips in play with 12 left.
Oh, sick.
So I should have won the tournament, but mistakes happen. But I think when I no confidence really, I didn't really have any confidence issues specifically in that tournament, just because there were some lesser experienced players kind of throughout the whole field. When we got to 4 left, there wasn't, but like there's 4 left. You're locked up a lot of money.
It's easier then.
It's a little bit easier. I would say that like if it was all crushers on the start of my day 2 table, you know, and I didn't have that many chips and I could be out any hand, then it's a little different. But I was winners tilting a little bit, right? Like you're winning a lot I was on the bubble with a ton of chips, and like no matter how much better you are than me, if I open a lot and we're on the bubble, you still like kind of can't just like own me. You're covered. Like unless you think I'm a huge idiot and you think I'm just gonna like bow out anytime you 3-bet me, like, you know, I'm gonna be like, you're just not. There's only so much you can do. And the effective stacks nearing the bubble, you know, with ICM, a lot of players, you don't really love going post flop in a lot of these spots. So like it becomes a little bit more of a pre-flop game on the bubble, and you can only own me so much pre-flop. So yeah, I went post flop 4 left with Jason. I got owned, but you know.
All right, well, just tell us that hand, because speaking of losing confidence, we don't do a lot of hand histories on here, but
it was 4 left, and I was Jason. It was cutoff was Ben Tollering. He had, I think, like 30 bigs. Jason was on the button. He had a lot of chips. He had like 90 bigs. Chewy had a lot of chips, like 90, and then I had like 22. Yep. So Ben folds the cutoff. Jason opens the button, which he'll do a lot, obviously, but he can't open that wide because I'm last in chips. Like, yes, Ben is like similar to me, but like, you know, I'm not going to just sit here and get a ladder at this point with 4 people left. So like ICM pressure does diminish a little bit when there's 4 people left, whereas there's 9, you sit there, there's 8 other people who could bust out. Like here, there's nowhere to hide. I got to play some poker. So he can't just open ridiculously wide or anything. So he opens, fold, and I have king 8 suit in the big. I defend. Comes king 4 deuce rainbow. Check, and he bets small. And like his range is still really wide, and we're button big. Like I don't think that he'll open king 4 offsuit, king deuce offsuit, or 4 deuce offsuit. So on a king 4 deuce rainbow, he doesn't actually make as many 2 pairs as if the board was another composition, because you know those offsuit hands are more plentiful than suited hands. So like, you know, I don't actually have to be that afraid of him making a huge hand. He could have me out kicked for sure, but you know, we're at a low SBR at this point, and like, you know, if the way it works when there's no ICM is like, if you're beat, you're kind of beat. Like you're going to lose. Like when you're deep stack, you don't check raise king 8, because I'm not trying to fucking stack off for 100 bigs, but I'll stack off for 20. Right. So check, he bets, and I shouldn't always raise, but you know, you're supposed to raise. Sometimes I opted in this moment to raise. So I raise and he calls, and I'm feeling pretty good. He's going to easily call with queen jack suited, queen 10 suited, jack 10 suited, to call every ace 10.
Ace 5, ace 3. Yeah.
Ace 5, ace 3, ace 10, ace jack, ace queen. Yeah, like, you know, he has all the pocket pairs. Like, so I'm feeling really actually fine. Turn comes a jack. So, all right, fine. Like, I mean, if he doesn't have jack 4 offsuit, he doesn't have jack 2 offsuit. So like, it's not going to actually make 2 pair that much. If he had king jack, he already had me beat. Jack, like, come on, button big. Like, if you have fucking jacks, then. So now I bet the turn for whatever, that maybe there's like 11 bigs out there. I think I bet the turn for like 5 bigs, which left me, I think I had 14 total at this point, maybe 15, but 5 into 11, you know, and if there's a turn flush draw, and I'm like, all right, if he just calls now, again, it's like, he's going to have to call again. Like what's he going to fold now? He's going to fold 5s, 6s, some 7s. Maybe he's going to have to probably get in there and call some 8s, 9s, and 10s. Cause like, he's going to have to be folding some of his like suited backdoors, like ace 8 suited, ace 9, ace 7, ace 6. He's going to have to fold 3s. He's going to have to fold 5s. Those have bad removal. He's going to fold some 4x and 2x if he has it. But it's like, I'm only betting 5 into 11. He has to continue a decent amount. And if he has ace queen or ace 10, he's going to call. So if he just calls, I actually really feel good. He could easily have turned to jack or queen jack, jack 10, ace jack. Like, and he's going to call some turn flush draws. So like on the river, if I don't get shoved on, I feel pretty good. Like, because at this point, he could shove on me with some better hands. I think, and then he shoves. And I was like, it's difficult because like, I don't know what, again, this kind of goes back to like a little bit of like what I said in 2019 where, Bonomo knows that I'm weak and he's 3-betting me because he knows that guy would have 3-bet me. It went back a little bit of that where I was like, does he think in this moment that I'm have enough bluffs? Because to be honest, I would use a lot of bluffs in this spot just because like I'm last in chips. I got to make something happen. There's a lot of hands of his that kind of can't continue when I check raise the flop. Like 10-9 off, 10-8 off, 9-8. Oh, what's he going to do with those? Like, so I actually would get here with a reasonable amount of bluffs, but I bet the turn and he jams. I was like, I was like, if he has like ace 8 of diamonds, like I didn't understand why he would shove because I either have a king or 2 pair and it doesn't look like I'm going to fold, or I have 6-5. I could have 7-5 of diamonds myself that check raises some backdoors. I could have ace 5 or ace 3 that he's ahead of. I could have 5-3 myself that he's ahead of. And like, I was like, and again, like, let's say he has like queen 10 of diamonds. He could shove the turn. It's possible, but like, that's one combo. And like, he also like might call in position and see what I do on the river. So I was just like, what is he shoving? He might just have, I just thought there was a lot of ways to have king, queen offsuit, ace, king 10 offsuit that are like, all right, like, let's deny some equity. Let's get it in versus some worse kings. And in that moment, I just kind of felt like with his timing, he had a lot of time banks. I just felt like it's one of those, I don't really have super logical reason, which makes it, it's just one of those feelings you get by playing a lot of poker. I just thought that he had the best hand. I thought that he was like, I'm going to just stack this kid. He's got a good hand. I got a good hand. He's not going to be able to fold. He doesn't have that many bluffs. Let's just stack this kid right now.
Sounds like that's what he was thinking.
Yeah.
If you have king 7, king 6.
Yeah. And I fold, and I didn't factor in that he would do it with king 8 because I didn't think he would expect me to have king 7 or king 6 because those are a little bit thinner to like check raising, bet and get in. And he had king 8, and then I was down to like, I folded and I had like 9 bigs, and then ultimately I just shoved and busted. But then it was just one of those things where like you have the delay on the stream, and I bust out, and they asked me in the interview like, all right, so how do you feel you played? I was like, we're going to see in about 30 minutes. So,
well, as long as Kuhn didn't be like, good full, buddy, I had you, and show you the king 8. Like, that's the worst feeling where like you like bet the turn, you get shoved on, and they show you like a worse hand or something like that. God damn it.
I've had that happen. We all have. That's not a good one. But yeah, so that was that it was a great experience, but ultimately I think that that didn't feel the best because like obviously that's one of those that if you look in a solver, this is where like looking at solvers is like somewhat silly. Sometimes it says, oh, it's winning like 7 bigs to call. Cause like he's supposed to jam this and this, and he would have all these bluffs. And Kuhn is a world-class player. He's obviously going to have a lot of bluffs. I just believed in that moment that like he might skip some for some like, for some reasons in playing against me and some history that we've had. Like I've mostly just had it versus him. So, yeah.
Fair enough. Well,
no, thank you for sharing your pain.
Yeah. We love pain on the show. Well, let's see here. Let's see. Do you want to promote anything while you're here? Let's go down that rabbit hole for a little bit because I know we got to wrap it up here in a couple of minutes.
Yeah. Promotionally, no. I mean, I talked about some poker coaching stuff. Definitely believe in them. Not looking to really promote too much.
Do you have like a Twitter or Instagram people can follow?
Yeah. I think just I don't know my Instagram. You could probably find it.
It'll be right here.
Yeah.
Just Brock the Cock
Wilson. Brock Wilson something 44 maybe. And then my Twitter's probably the same. I use both. I'm active somewhat. I'm more on Twitter or X, whatever you call it. I'm more of a watcher, not a sayer. Like I'm on there a lot. I'm always
lurking.
Yeah, I'm lurking. I'm watching. I'm seeing what's up. But yeah, I don't actually post too much. Instagram, I post some poker tournament stuff, but ultimately the easiest way to follow me is just go to a tournament stop. I'll probably be there.
What about the one-on-one coaching stuff? Is there a private link for that, or is that on Poker Coaching?
there's some on poker coaching, but ultimately most people just reach out on Instagram or Twitter. They just message and say, hey, I'm looking for some coaching. This is sort of what I'm looking for. And sometimes I'm like, I don't think I'm the coach for you. Like, I think that you would be better suited going with someone else. But yeah, usually just Instagram or Twitter. And that's the way I do that. And yeah, ultimately, what am I promoting? Promote poker. I think you guys talk about it here. It's a great game. It's a game that's super awesome. You can play at a high level for your whole life. There's not many stuff that you can do like that. And it's something that you're always learning. Like, you think you got to figure it out. Like, you don't.
The pendulum will swing back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone's going to figure out a way to beat GTO. And it's just such a complex, there's always something that is there that like, you'll be like, I can't believe I was missing that for so long. Or some trend that comes out that you're like, I don't think this is a stupid trend. I'm going to find a way to beat this. Like, yeah. So.
I love your passion. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. That's the pod, guys.
All right.
Me and my buddy, we making all of this money. Yeah, I know it's rude to be bragging. They never catching us slacking.